I noticed the charge the same way I noticed most things in my life, late and without drama. It was buried between smaller transactions, groceries, a utility bill, then a number that didn't belong there, 15,000. At first I assumed it was a hold, a mistake. Something that would correct itself if I refreshed the app. It didn't. The description was clean. Final, processed, venue payment. I sat there a while, not reacting, just looking at it long enough for it to stop feeling like a surprise and start feeling like confirmation. It wasn't even the first time something like this had happened, just the first time it had been this complete. I asked her that evening, not aggressively, not even accusing, just, did you use my card for the venue? She didn't hesitate. Yeah, she said, like it was already settled. It was easier. Easier. I waited a second, giving her space to fill in the rest. Something about asking first, or paying me back, or at least acknowledging the size of it. She didn't. Instead, she looked at me with that slight tilt of her head, the one she used when she'd already decided how something should be understood. You don't have a family to support, she added. You're just you. You can handle it. There was a pause after that, not for my response, just for emphasis. Then she smiled faintly. You should cover it. It landed differently than I expected. Not sharp, not explosive, just final. Like something that had been said in smaller ways for years had finally been put into one sentence. I didn't argue. I didn't remind her of the other times. The deposits, the emergencies, the temporary things that never came back. I just nodded slightly. Then you'll love what comes next, I said. She rolled her eyes before I even finished the sentence. That was the last real conversation we had before the wedding. That night, I didn't think about fairness. I thought about access. What was mine? What wasn't? What I had agreed to? And what had simply been taken and labeled as expectation. I opened the email from the venue. The receipt was attached. So was the agreement, cancellation policy, payment structure, deadlines. It was all there, clear, impersonal, the kind of clarity that doesn't care about family. I read it twice, then I made one call. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't even difficult. I just explained that the payment had been made from my account, without my authorization for that specific purpose, and that I wanted to withdraw it. There were procedures. Verification. A pause while they checked. Then the tone shifted on their end. Professional. Firm. Yes, we can reverse the transaction. However, the balance will need to be settled by the contracting party by tomorrow to avoid cancellation. I said I understood. That was it. No announcement, no message, no warning. I went to sleep. I woke up to my phone vibrating across the table. Calls stacked on top of each other. Missed calls, voicemails. I didn't check them immediately. I didn't need to. The pattern was already familiar, just louder this time. When I finally unlocked the screen, the numbers had climbed higher than I expected. 68 missed calls. I sat with that for a moment, not overwhelmed, just aware. I called my parents back first. My father picked up immediately. What did you do? No greeting? I let him finish the question before answering. I removed a payment that wasn't mine to make. You've caused a serious problem, he said, voice tight. The venue is saying, I know what they're saying. There was a shift on the line, not silence. Just recalibration. They need the money by today, he continued. Otherwise they cancel everything. I didn't respond. This is your sister's wedding. That sentence had always worked before. It carried weight. Obligation. This time it just sounded like information. The messages from her came next. Short at first, call me, then longer. What did you do? Then different. Please call me. I waited, not to punish her, just to understand what I felt before stepping back into it. When I finally answered, her voice was already mid-sentence. They're saying it's not paid, that there's a deadline, that I know. You can't just do this, she said, not angry anymore, just strained. It's already booked. People are coming. I listened. For a moment, I heard something underneath the urgency. Not apology, not quite, just recognition that something had shifted. You used my card without asking, I said. We were going to sort it out, she replied quickly. After the wedding. That part almost made me smile, not because it was funny, because it was predictable. By midday, it wasn't just family anymore. The venue had sent formal notices, clear language, deadlines, consequences, no emotion, no negotiation. Pay the balance or the reservation is released. It became real in a way arguments never did. Documented. Outside of interpretation, people who had never been part of the conversation were now involved. Her fiancé, his family. Questions started forming that didn't include me. Why wasn't it paid? Who was responsible? What happens if it isn't? She called again in the afternoon. This time, she didn't start with anger. I need you to fix this. Not please. Not yet. Just need. I let the sentence sit between us. I can't, I said. You can, she replied quickly. Just put it back. We'll figure everything out later. There it was again, later. I thought about how often that word had carried things forward without ever resolving them. I'm not paying for it, I said. The silence that followed was different. Not disbelief, not outrage. Just the absence of the version of me she expected. You're really going to let this happen, she asked, quieter now. I didn't answer right away, because the truth wasn't simple. I wasn't trying to let anything happen. I was just not stopping it anymore. I didn't go to the venue. I didn't involve myself in what they decided to do. By evening, I heard they had managed something. Loans, contributions, last-minute adjustments. The wedding wasn't canceled. It went ahead smaller than planned, tighter, different. I saw a few photos afterward. Everything looked fine, not perfect, but intact. We still talk, not the same way. There's a hesitation now. A small pause before assumptions. Your quirks come with more words around them. Softer edges. I don't say yes automatically. Sometimes I say no. Sometimes I say nothing. No one brings up the payment anymore, not directly. But it sits there quietly in the space between things, not as a victory, just as a line that finally stayed where I put it.